YouTube, what it do? It's your boy TWV checking in for the Friday Night SmackDown recap. So this Friday Night SmackDown was in Bologna, Italy for the first time in over 18 years. And the Italian crowd was just as loud and rowdy as the crowd from Monday Night Raw. Like I said, the European tour gets some of the best crowds because they're just so passionate. It's like a college atmosphere. I love everything about it when WWE does go on these European tours. They did just announce that they're going on a European tour before their pay-per-view in August. So that's gonna be dope as well. Can't wait for that to happen as well. Those, like I said, those European crowds definitely deserve it. They're just so passionate and enjoy everything about professional wrestling. Like they're in tune with every segment, every match, like it's supposed to be the main event, which is something that's extremely dope to see. But with that being said, let's get into the review. Randy Orton opened the show to a raucous reception. The Italian crowd passionately sang along to his interesting voices, creating a memorable atmosphere that underscored Orton's enduring popularity. Before Orton could address the audience, Kevin Owens interrupted to a chorus of boos. Owens began by acknowledging his previous attack on Orton, expressing regret and stating that Orton didn't deserve the pile driver he received. He admitted that while his actions against Cody Rhodes and Sami Zayn were intentional, his assault on Orton was a mistake fueled by anger. Owen suggested that if Orton could forgive him for the attack, they could move past their differences. He also claimed that his interference in Orton's match against Carmelo Hayes the previous week was to prevent Orton from reverting to his more vicious tendencies, such as punting opponents in the head. Owens then proposed that they team up to pursue the tag team champions at WrestleMania, reminiscing about how close they had come to achieving that goal before. Orton responded with intensity, rejecting Owens' apology and partnership offer. He accused Owens of transforming from fight Owens fight to bitch Owens bitch, highlighting his disdain for Owens' recent actions. Orton then issued a challenge for the match at WrestleMania, vowing to kick Owens' head clean off his shoulders. So beautiful opening segment, straight to the point. Basically got to the WrestleMania match that we were all looking for. That was kind of the underlying tone of this episode. Like we're pretty much like, hey, this is the WrestleMania match. We're setting them in stone basically today, and then we're going to just build from here, knowing that these matches are set in stone on the card and build these feuds to WrestleMania. So I loved everything about it. I think Sami Zayn is actually really on the shelf, so I hope he's able to come back for WrestleMania. But then it's like, who would he face? So I hope he is doing well. But I do love they are circling back to the Kevin Owens Randy Orton thing that kind of fizzled out at the end of last year because of the Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens feud. So I'm glad that they circled back to that because this is going to be an amazing match. And this is going to be the second WrestleMania in a row. Kevin Owens and Randy Orton are fighting each other in some capacity. Like last year, it was a triple threat match with Kevin Owens, Randy Orton, and Logan Paul fighting for the United States Championship. This year is just a blood feud between Randy Orton and Kevin Owens. So I liked everything about it. These two are two of the greatest wrestlers, and they're going to have a great match between each other. So with that being said, let's get to the next one. The next in-ring action showcased an intense tag team match featuring Damian Priest and Jimmy Uso facing off against Drew McIntyre and Shinsuke Nakamura. The match began with Drew McIntyre and Jimmy Uso as the legal men. McIntyre gained the early advantage with a suplex, then tagged in Nakamura, who unleashed a flurry of offense on Uso. The action spilled outside the ring with Nakamura slamming Uso against the announce table. Back in the ring, the momentum shifted when Damian Priest tagged in. He and Uso isolated Nakamura, employing quick tags and effective teamwork to wear him down. Nakamura eventually created separation and tagged in McIntyre, who entered with high-impact moves including clotheslines and a neckbreaker on Priest. The climax saw Jimmy Uso neutralize McIntyre outside the ring only to be taken out by Nakamura. This distraction allowed Priest to capitalize, delivering his finishing move South of Heaven to Nakamura for the pinfall victory. Post-match, McIntyre launched a surprise attack on Priest, expressing his frustration over recent events. He pummeled Priest and delivered a Claymore kick, signaling the ongoing tensions between the two. So basically, this match was to further the Priest and Drew McIntyre feud. Drew had cut a promo slightly on him, like, you're the reason I'm not, in the championship contention for at WrestleMania. And, I'm going to ruin you and ruin everything that you got going for you because you screwed me over, basically. So I like where it's going. Like I said in the previous video, they're just circling back because Priest was hoeing over Drew McIntyre a lot last year. Like at WrestleMania, Drew won the belt, held it for 5 minutes. Priest ran down, cashed in. And then an ongoing mini thing between him and Priest throughout the summer. Like McIntyre won Money in the Bank, tried to interfere in the Seth Rollins and Priest match, still ended up losing that match. Like every time he had a World Heavyweight Championship opportunity, either he lost because he just lost or he got screwed by Priest or Punk. So yeah, so he just airing his grievances. But I do like this feud. So with that being said, let's get to the next one. The next segment was a backstage interaction that unfolded between United States champion LA Knight and Braun Strowman. The segment began with Braun Strowman preparing for his upcoming match against Jacob Fatu. LA Knight then approached him, expressing his hope that Strowman would smack Jacob Fatu back to factory settings. Knight cautioned Strowman about the potential for interference, noting that Fatu's tendency to rely on his allies during the match. In response, Strowman revealed that SmackDown General Manager Nick Aldis had informed him that the winner of this match against Fatu would earn a shot at Knight's United States Championship. Strowman emphasized that capturing the title would secure his path to WrestleMania, underscoring the high stakes of this encounter. So it was short and sweet, built into like, hey, like I said, it's probably gonna be a multi-man match at WrestleMania. I don't know who's in it, because the people I recommended, it looks like they're going in a whole different direction. So with that, kind of just gotta let it cook. Follow the tide, see where it takes us. But this was a cool segment and just furthering the storyline. So it was cool with me. So with that being said, let's get to the next one. The next segment was a split screen interview featuring reigning WWE's Women's Champion Tiffany Stratton and her WrestleMania 41 challenger Charlotte Flair. Charlotte Flair initiated the exchange by interrupting the first question directed at Stratton, asserting that while Stratton has shown potential, she lacks exceptional qualities that define a true champion. Flair mentioned that she chose Stratton as a WrestleMania opponent out of pity, implying that Stratton isn't on her level. She further belittled Stratton's accomplishments by highlighting that Stratton secured the women's title through a Money in the Bank cash-in, suggesting that it was an opportunistic victory rather than a testament to her skill. Flair confidently stated that while WrestleMania would be the pinnacle of Stratton's career for her, it would just be another day at the office. In response, Stratton acknowledged that Flair was once someone she admired, but accused of her constantly undermining emerging talents to maintain her status. Stratton boldly claimed that the WWE universe no longer bows to the Queen, but now operates on Tiffy time, signaling a shift in fan allegiance. She expressed her determination to dethrone Flair and solidify her own legacy. Flair retorted by questioning Stratton's current prominence, asserting that the fans' reactions, whether cheers or boos, are always directed at her, indicating her enduring influence. She also cast doubt on Stratton's longevity in the industry, implying that Stratton might not have the staying power to match her own enduring career. Charlotte Flair cooked her on the mic in this segment. Like, boy, it was bad. Like, she was in there swimming with a shark, and the shark got on her ass. Like, Tiffany was in there flailing for help, but it's Charlotte Flair. She's a vet. Like, when she in that mode, she's in that mode. So she cooked her bad. Like, I was on Twitter, they were just like, "Geez, get her out of there!" Like, in the segment, like, she was getting cooked. Tiffany was getting cooked, but I do think that she does lose the belt at WrestleMania. And I think we go maybe we drag this to SummerSlam. I think I said this in a previous video. We drag to SummerSlam. Like, she loses that WrestleMania rematch. She loses the rematch. Then she works her way back to get that third and final match and wins it at SummerSlam. Definitely am really high on SummerSlam this year since it is the first ever 2-night SummerSlam. This is the same spot where I think John Cena wins 17, just to put a flag on, like, yeah, WrestleMania is big, but SummerSlam is basically just as big since they're both the only two pay-per-views that have 2 nights now. So I definitely am waving that flag of Cena winning that SummerSlam and then carrying it, I guess, till December when he has that pay-per-view that they're going to make about him. Then he drops it there and builds a new superstar going into the sunset. But let's not get long-winded. Let's get into the next one. The next in-ring action was Braun Strowman facing Jacob Fatu in a high-stakes match that determined the number 1 contender for the United States Championship. From the onset, Strowman asserted his dominance, using his strength to corner Fatu and deliver powerful strikes. Fatu, known as the Samoan Werewolf, countered with agility and resilience, managing to sidestep Strowman's charges and retaliate with shoulder blocks and headbutts. A pivotal moment occurred when Strowman executed a back body drop, sending Fatu sprawling to the outside. Not one to relent, Strowman pursued Fatu, tossing him over the announce desk, much to the crowd's astonishment. The match's momentum shifted when Fatu delivered a super kick followed by a Samoan drop and earning a near fall. However, Strowman's resilience shone through as he countered with a spinebuster, regaining control. The bout took a chaotic turn when Tama Tonga appeared, attempting to interfere. Strowman neutralized this threat by hurling Tonga into the ring. The situation escalated as Solo entered the fray, attacking Strowman and causing the referee to call for a disqualification. As a result, Strowman secured the victory via disqualification, becoming the number 1 contender for the United States Championship. Yeah, so this match, just progressive storyline. Like I said, This was Braun Strowman, I guess, progressing into the United States title picture, and Jacob Fatu falling out of it to kind of lead into the beef with him and Solo Sikoa that we've been teasing for at least a month now. No, 2 months. No, a month now. We've been teasing this since February. So I liked everything about it. I'm really high on Jacob Fatu. I really want to hit this solo match to happen so he can break away from the bloodline and just become a singles superstar, and he doesn't have to be wrapped up in the bloodline vortex. So I like it. Like, push him to the moon, strap the rocket to him. I do see him beating Solo, and then kind of further down the line, winning the United States Championship, because he keep floating him around. And you got to put the belt on Fatu either sooner or later. Sorry, LA Knight. Hopefully we get you through Mania, and you still the champ, and then you do the job and drop it to Fatu somewhere, and let the Samoan Werewolf run wild, because we don't want him to get lost in the shuffle in the main event scene, even though he's definitely a main event player. We just gotta wait your time, and then we gonna catapult him up to the next level. But with that being said, let's get to the next one. Next segment was a backstage promo involving Jacob Fatu, Solo Sikoa, and Tama Tonga. This segment followed a controversial finish to Fatu's match against Braun Strowman, where interference from Sikoa and Tonga led to Fatu's disqualification, causing him a potential U.S. Championship opportunity. Backstage, an irate Fatu was seen furiously throwing objects, clearly frustrated by the outcome of his match. Solo Sikoa attempted to justify the interference, suggesting they were trying to assist Fatu. However, Fatu rebuffed this explanation, asserting that their actions were self-serving rather than supportive. He emphatically stated that his business is his own and warned Sikoa to be cautious while he handles his affairs. And we are seeing the cracks continue to form, and we are about to have Jacob Fatu beat the brakes off of Solo Sikoa, and that's going to lead to the WrestleMania match, and I am all for it. Like I said, they've been teasing this for at least a month now, since they started a little bit before, but they really kind of start hammering it in SmackDown Valentine's Day weekend. They had a whole little segment and all that, because they were accidentally hitting each other in separate matches and things like that. So this is what we're getting to. I'm glad we didn't shy away from it. Run straight to it. Let Jacob Fatu squash Solo, and let's keep it pushing. But with that being said, let's get to the next one. The next in-ring action was Zelina Vega facing off against Piper Niven, who was accompanied by the Green Regimen members Women's United States Champion Chelsea Green and Alba Fire. From the onset, Niven leveraged her significant size and strength advantage, overpowering Vega with a forceful hip check that sent her opponent crashing to the mat. Vega, undeterred, attempted to utilize her agility, slipping off of Niven's shoulders and delivering rapid strikes. However, a momentary distraction from Green and Fire allowed Niven to regain control, leading to a commercial break. Upon returning, Niven maintained her dominance, executing a powerful shoulder tackle that grounded Vega. Vega showcased her resilience, countering a gorilla press attempt into a choke hold, transitioning into an octopus stretch and nearly securing a pinfall with a sunset flip. The momentum shifted as Vega connected with a tornado DDT in a 619, inching close to victory. However, interference from Fire on the apron diverted Vega's attention, allowing Niven to capitalize with a running crossbody for the pinfall. So this was short and sweet, about 12 minutes long. On Twitter, people say that overstayed is welcome. 10-minute match doesn't really overstay. 10-12-minute match really doesn't overstay his welcome, in my opinion. It was like the perfect amount of time. We're showcasing the women on the roster. Like, that's all I'm for. Because on the main roster, they do, it's weird week to week. Sometimes they're not utilized at all, and sometimes it's like one match or one off, or one segment, one off. Like, we need some more consistency on the main roster. It has been fairly more consistent since we are building these feuds for WrestleMania. But yeah, I would like to have the consistency of how it is ran down in NXT, because the main roster's women division is just as deep as NXT's. So I would like to see, you have 3-hour shows here. You have a 2.5-hour show for Raw. That could go 3 hours depending on how you want to book it that week. Like Triple H said, the Raw scheduling on Netflix is a lot more flexible. So it's like, take a page out of Shawn Michaels' book. If anything, just not put them in big segments, but like put 4 or 5 people together, have them talk, boom, we move on to something else, if it makes sense for the story. But let's not get long-winded. With that being said, let's get into the next one. The next segment was Jade Cargill delivering a backstage promo that showcased her assertiveness and set the stage for a match against Liv Morgan coming up next. In her interview with Kathy Kelly, Cargill expressed her frustration over being blamed for an attack she claimed no involvement in, suggesting that Morgan and her tag team partner Raquel Rodriguez were merely upset over defeating Bianca Belair to win the tag team championship. Cargill declared her intention to use her match against Morgan as a preview of what she plans to do to Naomi, indicating that once she dispatched to Morgan, Naomi will be her next target. So short and sweet, straight to this point, building the storyline further for her and Naomi. And then, just snowballing this into their match literally right after this. So promo was cool. Not cool. Like I said, I liked it. So, like I said, further the storyline. So we're snowballing into the next thing. So that will be the Jade Cargill versus Liv Morgan match. And Jade Cargill faced Liv Morgan in a highly anticipated match. This bout marked Cargill's first singles competition since her return at Elimination Chamber, setting the stage for an intense showdown. The match began with Cargill asserting her dominance, delivering a powerful big boot that sent Morgan outside of the ring. Displaying her strength, Cargill tossed Morgan into the ringside barricade before rolling her back into the ring. Morgan attempted to counter with a kick, but Cargill thwarted her oblivion finisher and executed a powerbomb for a near fall. As the match progressed, Morgan, accompanied by her tag team partner Raquel Rodriguez, capitalized on distractions. Rodriguez's interference allowed Morgan to hit a backstabber and drive Cargill shoulder first into the steel ring post, shifting the momentum in her favor. The turning point occurred when Naomi appeared unexpectedly with referee distracted by Rodriguez. Naomi struck Cargill with one of the tag team championship belts. Seizing the opportunity, Morgan executed her oblivion finisher, securing the pinfall victory over Cargill. Post-match, Naomi intensified the assault, delivering a heat seeker to Cargill and knocking her onto the announce table, leaving her former ally reeling. So like I said, we're just building storyline here. We're building to the Jade Cargill and Naomi match for WrestleMania. Obviously, we're probably going to get that set in stone probably this Friday coming up or next Friday. Basically, everything's going to kind of be set in stone for WrestleMania by the end of the month, which is fine with me, which will be leading into April. We can just ramp it up for those 2 weeks pre-WrestleMania and just, set a fire under every feud, under every promo, under every segment interaction, and just make it must-see TV. So I loved everything about it. Like I said, we're just storyline building heading into WrestleMania, and great time to watch because, you're getting the best out of everybody right now. So let me not be long-winded. So with that being said, let's get into the next one. The next segment was Drew McIntyre being interviewed backstage by Kathy Kelly, addressing his ongoing rivalry with Damian Priest. McIntyre expressed his frustration, stating that he had repeatedly explained his issues with Priest and is perplexed by those who don't understand his perspective. He challenged anyone, including Priest, to point out the flaws in his logic, labeling those who disagree as idiots. McIntyre further criticized Priest, describing him as tough as he is stupid, and declared his intention to settle their differences in London next week. The segment concluded with McIntyre crossing paths with Seth Rollins, who chuckled dismissively before walking away. So, like I said, building storyline to the Priest and McIntyre match. You got to go into the lore to kind of understand it. If you haven't been around wrestling, if you have been around wrestling, obviously this feud makes sense. I don't know why a lot of people on the internet were kind of shitting on it on Twitter. I'm all for it. You put in two of your main event guys on the show. Of course, they're not in the main event slot, but they're on WrestleMania. So it's like, I can't be mad at it. I love Drew McIntyre. I got several Drew McIntyre t-shirts. Same with Damian Priest. So, like I said, I'm pretty positive with this wrestling thing. And if I'm a fan of you, if you check off them TWV boxes, I'm definitely buying your merch. I'm a fan of you. So I like it. Love will be strong, but I definitely like it. I know they're going to have a great match where I'll definitely enjoy it. So I can't wait for WrestleMania and see these two beat the brakes off each other. So with that being said, let's get into the next one. The next in-ring action was Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins defending their newly won WWE Tag Team titles against Los Garzas, Angel Garza, and Humberto Carrillo in a non-title match. The bout was action-packed from the start, featuring high-flying maneuvers and intense exchanges. A standout moment occurred when Montez Ford performed an impressive mid-air flip, landing on his feet after a double press slam, leaving Garza and Carrillo momentarily stunned. The match culminated with Dawkins executing a dive to the outside, taking out Escobar and Carrillo, while Ford secured the win with his signature 7-star frog splash on Angel Garza. So this match, I want to say, was maybe 10-12 minutes, short and sweet, straight to the point. Just, planting the flag that the Street Profits are going to be the dominant tag team champions. They did have a little run-in from Pretty Deadly because they are actually the number one contenders for the tag team championship. So we showcase that as well. So we always show the ever evolving tag team scene. You know how I feel about the SmackDown tag team scene. It's just a revolving door. Street Profits are the champs now. They didn't beef with Las Garza, beat them. Now they have Pretty Deadly, I think, next week. And then DIY and Motor City Machine Guns are on a side quest facing each other. But then after one of them beat each other, they'll probably become number one contender to face the Street Profits again. So multi-man match at WrestleMania. That's all I'm going to get to. Like, it's 5 teams. We're just going to probably, I don't know how we're going to do it, but we're going to do a 5-team match, possibly 4-team match. Somebody's going to get eliminated. I guess we do like a little knockout bracket to see who really is the true number one contender for WrestleMania. That would be something kind of cool. But then you're leaving a bunch of people off of WrestleMania if we go that route. So I say multi-man match. I guess a 4-team 4-way match. I don't think you can get 5 teams on there because it's only 4 corners of a ring. Unless we do a ladder match and then you could throw 5 teams in there. But then it's like, we're recycling what we did last year. So I wouldn't have a problem with it. I mean, you would get all 5 teams on there for SmackDown to fight for the belts, but recycling a ladder match from last year would not be a good look because we did that for both titles last year. So with that being said, let's not get long-winded. Let's get into the main event segment. Main events featured a high-octane segment involving Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and CM Punk, setting the stage for a potential WrestleMania 41 showdown. The confrontation began with Reigns adjusting his recent actions, including attacking Punk and Rollins during the previous week's Raw. He justified his interference by referencing past grievances, notably Punk's elimination of him at the Royal Rumble and Rollins' subsequent attack. Seth Rollins then addressed Roman Reigns, criticizing his decision not to let Rollins finish CM Punk in New York, labeling Punk as a threat to the industry. Rollins emphasized their intertwined histories, stating that neither Reigns nor Rollins will be there or without the other, hinting at a shared legacy and future clashes. CM Punk then made a dramatic entrance referencing Punk's attire by calling him Grimace. Punk recounted past events, clarifying that he didn't portray Reigns at the Royal Rumble, as that the match was every man's for himself, and reminded Paul Heyman of a favor owed, thanking him for delivering Reigns. Tensions escalated when Punk hit Reigns with the microphone in the back of the head, leading to a chaotic brawl. Rollins attacked Punk, Reigns threw Rollins into the turnbuckles, and officials had to intervene to separate the three. The altercation spilled outside with Punk climbing onto the announce desk and pointing to the WrestleMania sign, basically a traditional WWE symbol for setting up major matches. Reigns and Rollins continued their fight, and Reigns eventually pulling both Punk and Rollins to the floor using steps to assault them. The segment concluded with all 3 men pointing to the WrestleMania sign, solidifying their intentions for a high-stakes match at the event. So this was cinema. It was straight to the point. It was about 8 minutes. Punk got the most out of it, got it off his chest like, hey, basically the foreshadowing of the favor being owed. I seen a thing on Twitter where the favor is Paul Heyman turning on Roman and, coming back to join CM Punk. That would be kind of cool. I do really prefer my alternate option, which would be whoever wins the match is the number one contender post WrestleMania. So that would probably be Punk winning that match, because I don't see Seth coming out of Mania as the number one contender. I don't see Roman as well. But we could. Who knows? Who knows if John Cena doesn't win in night 2, and then we have a whole whirlwind of speculations and possibilities we can get into. But if we're keeping it simple, keeping it straightforward, Cody wins, Cody retains, and we move on to post WrestleMania. I do think Punk will be the one that would dethrone him. I would say he would dethrone him at Backlash, and then we start the summer of Punk. And that way we get, Punk versus Cena, Punk versus Seth again, Punk versus Roman. We can make all these money matches during the summer, and then, we exchange the title from Punk to Cena and at SummerSlam or something like that. Like I said, I'm really planting this flag on Cena winning at SummerSlam. Don't be surprised if he wins at Mania, then SummerSlam's cooked. If he doesn't win at Mania, all in on SummerSlam. But with that being said, it's your boy TWV. This was a SmackDown recap and review. I'm checking in and I'm checking out, and I'll catch you in the next one tonight for WrestleMania 15. Peace.